So I just lost my shit a little bit and had to start over. I'm having a very difficult time. So let's try this again. God. Hello, everybody. I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. I'm sorry about the lighting. I'm sorry about the ugly background. I'm sorry about everything. I'm sorry about everything that is wrong with this video. So I'm going nuts. I feel like I'm going crazy. But yeah. So we need to talk about something, and I feel like some of y'all are going to be pissed off. I do, and I care, but I don't, okay? So I want to preface this video by saying that I do not like Gypsy Rose. I think she's a bad person. I think she does terrible things. I think she's selfish and entitled and a complete brat. I think she's whiny. I think she's awful. I think she's an evil person that still has the heart of a manipulative beast inside her. Narcissism doesn't just disappear because you do 8 years in prison. She's already exploited her child with embarrassing shit porn. So, you know, that when the kid grows up and her friends see this, they could be like, I saw your shit on your mom's arm. You're gross. You shit on your mom, you know? And you know, they all did it too, but theirs isn't going to be on video. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be coughing a lot. I'm having a very difficult time without the oxygen. And anyway, I'm going to say this a lot in this video. I understand why people are upset about the Salon Centric thing. I promise you, I understand. And I ask you to please just listen and try to understand me. Not agree with me. You don't have to agree with me, but just try to understand. When I say I don't think that Salon Centric employee should lose their job because of this one mistake, even though they did break the rules or whatever, it wouldn't have been an issue. It would have never been an issue if it wasn't Gypsy Rose. If it was anyone else, no one would know and no one would care. No one would give a damn at all. So obviously, in this video, we are going to discuss something that may upset many of you. And please understand, that is not my intent at all. I don't want to upset anyone. But, you know, we always do with our videos. But I also want to speak when I have something to say. And it's up to you whether you want to hear what I'm saying or read between the lines and say I'm saying something I'm not. But that's why I have a channel. So everyone is upset about Gypsy Rose being able to purchase items from Salon Centric. And I understand it's her entitlement. It's her attitude that she's above everything and that she's better than everyone else. And the rules don't apply to her and that she can do whatever she wants whenever she wants to do it. This is the life she has led. She's always been handed anything she's ever wanted. Always. Always. And I mean, she should have been handed a life sentence is what she should have been handed, but you know, for what she did. But, you know, she got a slap on the wrist. That was even like, you know, so I understand why people are upset, and I understand why stylists in particular are upset. You know, these people who earned their cosmetology license, it's hard work. You know, it takes a long time, it takes money, and it's hard work. I understand why they're upset, because you need to earn that. You know, you need to earn that license to be able to shop at Salon Centric, supposedly. Okay, I get it. I get that. I understand that. But I wanted to bring up the issue of the person who allowed Gypsy Rose to make these purchases. That's what I want to talk about. You know, that person possibly losing their job if they haven't already. Everybody makes mistakes at work. Every single one of you and myself who have had a job, you've made mistakes at work. Every single one of these stylists out there complaining about, about the scandal, they have made mistakes at work. Not one of us have gone through any career or a job without making at least one mistake. For one, that's how you learn, And chances are pretty good we weren't fired for that one mistake. Not saying that this is that employee's one mistake. I don't know. I'm just saying. I think it's wrong, first of all, to assume that this person even knew who Gypsy Rose was. Yeah, maybe she did, but just because thousands of us know who Gypsy Rose is and we communicate with each other, there are people out on the street that have no idea who that bitch is, okay? And I think it's wrong to assume this person was trying to, in some way, get in Gypsy Rose's good graces. I mean, what's that going to get you? And honestly, it really just doesn't matter to me why the person chose to break that rule. That day by selling to someone without a license. And that employee has probably done it before. The reason, in my opinion, really just does not matter. I got an itch. I'm sorry. I'm not picking. But I understand the rule is broken. That person made a mistake at work. And if they've done it before, then maybe it's just a habit that they need to be talked to about it. Maybe they just require further education in the workplace. But now this person is very likely going to lose their job if they haven't already. And yes, it is that person's fault for breaking that rule. But Gypsy has some accountability in that too. She should have put her stuff down and walked out of the store. When they said that the store was, for licensed professionals only, and that she should have just left. She should have just been respectful, said, "I'm sorry," and left. She should have known at that time, if I stay here and buy these items, I'm putting this person's job at risk. She didn't do that. And also, how is she spending all this money at Salon Centric when didn't I just hear her say she had $50 in the bank? You're not you're not buying that much shit at Salon Centric for $50. Just saying. Anyway, she's thoughtless and she doesn't care about anybody but herself. Did you hear that, Ken? She doesn't care about anybody but herself. And again, I want to reiterate, it is that person's job, it is that person's responsibility to take care of their job, to follow the rules, to do their job the way, it's supposed to be done. And I understand that, okay? I want to make that clear. I understand that. But Gypsy, she started the fire. But now I feel like all the people that called Salon Centric, that emailed them, that left social media comments, about the situation, I think they thought, oh, we're going to get Gypsy Rose for this. We're going to get her. But I don't think they thought it through enough to how they were going to affect some other person's life, I don't think that they really thought it through. And maybe they did. Maybe they're just that mean little Karens. But they have some responsibility too. And hear me out before your ass gets up on your shoulders. Hear me out. Just listen. Again, I understand the frustration, the aggravation. We'd all like to be able to shop at Salon Centric. Well, not me. I have another source. I understand that it's not fair that Gypsy Rose got to buy some nice Salon Centric products. Okay, I understand that. It's not fair that people have to work hard to get a license to shop there. And Gypsy didn't. I understand that, I get the entitlement and we're sick of it coming off of her. You know what I mean? It's all the time. She's got her nose in the air like she's just entitled to everything she's ever wanted in her life because that's how she grew up. That's how she's lived her life. And she's always gotten everything she's ever wanted in her life. And her supporters, don't come at me with the whole, she did 8 years in prison. I don't care. I don't give a shit about that tiny little 8 years. That's a slap on the wrist. And it was a joke of a sentence, and it was an insult to her victim. It was an insult. But anyway, I understand the frustration of her entitlement and how it always seems like, she gets extra special treatment, because she does. Because she does. Because she has a Lifetime show, and, she thinks that, her shit don't stink and that she's a celebrity. She's not a celebrity. Being famous does not a celebrity make. And I want to say this again. I understand that the employee did something wrong. I understand that. They broke the rules. I understand that. But did the Gypsy Rose haters really have to add fuel to the fire? I mean, really. Because it's not Gypsy purchasing the products that was the problem. That's not what the problem was as far as Salon Centric goes. It was the backlash from social media. And you hate Gypsy Rose. I understand that. I feel that. I'm not a fan of hers either. I think she's a cunt, straight from the planet Cuntrovia, in the nebula region of assholia. But this employee is probably going to, if not already, lose their job because of the social media backlash. And I've seen TikToks of people actually getting off on that. And you don't know this person's life. This isn't a glamorous job. It may seem like one, but it's not. They're not making $100 an hour. They're a retail employee. You don't know if that person has a little baby at home. You don't know if that person has a sick family member that they're trying to help out, that they're trying to take care of. You don't know that person's life. And just because you hate Gypsy Rose, and that is the only reason. That is the only reason people made so much noise. That is the only reason. Now, you can say, it's because, you worked hard for your license, and Alan, and you can say you're sick of the entitlement, and you can say that it's not right that they sell to a murderer, but it's just because you hate Gypsy Rose. It's your hatred for Gypsy Rose. This person is probably going to be, again, if not already, jobless. And as much as Gypsy Rose, needs to take accountability, I'm sorry, Alan is not having it. He's not. But anyway, you all that made the most noise, you need to take accountability too for your actions, because that's evil. That is evil. And I'm not talking about the people that, Alan, that just made you, no, yeah, that's not cool that she was able to buy from Salon Centric. I'm not talking about those people, the casual, like, yeah, that's not right. I'm talking about the people that straight up raised hell, that really thought they were doing something. It's Karen behavior. Because I feel like they didn't sit and think for a second how, they're going to affect somebody's life. Much like Gypsy Rose. Gypsy Rose doesn't think for a second how she affects people's lives. With the choices she makes. Alan, go over here. And I'm especially talking to the fools on TikTok who are getting off on the fact that, somebody who probably makes just over minimum wage, if that much, losing their job. You don't get off on someone losing their job. If you're somebody getting off on that, you need to examine who you are as a human being, because that is evil. I don't care if it's because somebody sold a Gypsy Rose. You should never celebrate somebody losing their job. You know, especially a little job like that. It may not mean anything to you, but that job may mean something, you know, to that person. They may get a benefit from that helps them or whatever. And yes, again, I want to say it again. That person broke the rules. They did wrong. I understand that. They do not deserve to lose their job because of Gypsy Rose, and they do not deserve to lose their job because you hate Gypsy Rose. They made a mistake, just like all of us do every day. We all make mistakes, and I understand this person actually does this. She's done this before, so maybe it is an issue that she needs to get fired for anyway, but it's not our job to make sure it happens. Now, maybe this person is a total screw up and, you know, messes up every day at work. You know, and this was the last straw. Maybe it's something like that. But, you know, if that's the case, if that's the situation, then it's different. But, you know, these bitches shouldn't be getting on TikTok celebrating someone losing their job. It's hurtful, and quite frankly, it's evil. A lot of people acting like a pack of Karens, and, you know, it's shitty. It's shitty. Not only that, but I hear people go on and on and on and on and on about, you know, how mainstream media isn't telling the truth about Gypsy Rose. They're coddling her, they're babying her, how they lack the integrity to really look at the documentation, look at the case, look at the actual proof, and deep dive and really research and put together a breathtaking piece. What happened when I, as well as other creators, have pointed out that maybe we should do a letter writing campaign, maybe we should reach out to reporters, maybe we should write up ads to our biggest local papers, but, you know, not ads, op-eds. But I don't see anybody grasping onto those ideas. No, because that's going to take work. It takes little work to bitch about some underpaid employee at a retail establishment servicing Gypsy Rose. That takes a lot less work. So let's do that instead. No, they just want to get some little employee fired because they sold products they weren't supposed to Gypsy Rose. That's where they want their flex to be. It's weak. It's diluting the message that I thought we were all focusing on, and it bothers me. Do you really hate Gypsy Rose that much that you want to be like her? You want to literally affect somebody else's life in a negative way? In my eyes, that's not much different than what, you know, Gypsy Rose does to people. Granted, her behavior did result in a murder, a child out of wedlock with another man while she was still married to her husband. You know, but it's still shitty. It's still shitty. So, recording this actually took a lot out of me. Everything I do takes so much effort lately. It takes so much out of me. Just setting the camera up was just like, ugh. But I'm going to watch some Ducktavius videos, and I will talk to all of you later. Maybe some Bigfoot videos too. Anyway, I hope I didn't piss you all off. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to everyone later. Bye.